Good morning, everyone. Now today we will discuss about SQL. What is SQL? Very simple. It is structured query language. We can say that it is the most commonly used language in all the structured database like Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, Access, and all the structured database. Most commonly used language, that is SQL. We will learn the SQL in the database, that is in Oracle. So what is SQL? Very simple. It is used to, you can say, create, alter. In short, you can say SQL is used to manage the data. That's it. How we can manage the data? We can manage and access the data. How we can access the data? By firing a query. Before starting with the SQL, I want to show you how SQL will work. If you are using, I want to manage the structured data. How we can manage the structured data? Let me show you one example of table in Excel. You all knows this is the Excel workbook. You can manage the columns and rows over here. For example, I want to store the data of student over here. Then what we can do? Roll number, name, mobile, city, total marks, and percentage. So these are the columns of student. Let me increase the size. Right here you can just select this and you can resize it if it is required. So you can say these are the columns. In other language, suppose if it is a programming language, then you can say this header row represents the variable. Now I want to insert the record. You all knows, for example, I am entering roll number 101, 102, 103, 104, like this. Name is, for example, Parag, Kapil, Deven, Dharmik. Now I am entering the mobile number, for example, 98989889898978. But you all knows that, I did some mistake in the mobile number, and that is what? It must be at least 10 digit. It must be 10, not 9, not 11. One more thing, in mobile number I cannot write Rajkot, but programmer did the mistake over here. Right? So if you are using Excel, then you cannot define the different constraint over here. This is the limitation. Definitely you can do over here using the programming, but if you are using different macros and VBA programming, then it is limited to Excel only. I want to choose a same language that is applicable for the every database, and for that you need to use the SQL. For example, see what happened if people enter the number over here, right? Excel will take it. If you enter Rajkot perfectly, it is work. Suppose I am entering here mobile number, it is a mistake again. Suppose if I am entering the value that is Surat, it is correct. Now if people is writing ABC in a total, it is a mistake. Suppose if I am writing 434, it is correct. Now I am entering here XYZ, again it is a mistake. But if I am entering 554, it is correct. Now I am entering here, that is, for example, VBA, it is again wrong because percentage can never takes the alphabets. So you have to enter the value in a floating point like this. Yes, if you don't want to add the floating point, then also it's fine. But this is the wrong input. So you can say that it is definitely a table, but this is the table with the mistakes, right? I want to create this kind of table, but I don't want allow user to make the mistake. One thing. Second thing, that is I want to process each and every data. For example, I want to check who are living in Rajkot. Then how we can do this? In case of Excel, you are limited in features. Definitely you can use the filter over here to retrieve the data, but the number of rows are limited. One more thing is you are limited to Excel only. You cannot use the same thing in the different language. So I want to use the same thing in all other language. How we can do this? And that you can do with SQL. Now the question is how we can write the code in SQL and where we can write this. So there are two ways. The first way is you can open the command prompt and you can write SQL plus. It will asking you for the username and password, but the condition is your Oracle must be installed in your system. So how to install the Oracle? I will start from this first. So very simple. You can move to your, that is a Google. Here you can just go into oracle.com. Whenever you go on oracle.com, here you can click on view accounts. Here you can first create an account, right? I need to create an account to download the fresh copy of Oracle. So you just create the account. I'm just providing my value, that is parag.shukla@athmiuni.ac.in. This is my email ID. Now password requirement is at least it must have at least one character upper, one character lower, and one character that is number, right? So I need to provide the password that must be a combination of at least one capital, at least one small and digit, and even you can use the special letter, and it must be at least 8 character long. Whenever you pass your password, it will ask you that password meets the requirement. Then after, you can repeat the password. Once you repeat the password, it will correct this thing if the password is matches. Then here, you can just provide the name. My name is Parag Shukla. Job title is Associate Professor. My phone number of institute is this. Company is Atmiya University. Address Yogidam Gurukul, Kalawad Road, and the city is Rajkot. Then you can provide here the state. The state is Gujarat, and then you can provide the zip code 36005. Then you can just click on create account. Whenever you click on create account, your account will be created. Verify your email address to use your account. Very simple it is. You can just move to your email ID. So I'm just moving here. You can just click and you can just click on verify. You can just click on verify email ID. Once it is being verified, you will be able to access the Oracle. So using this particular email ID, you can access even livesql.oracle.com, and even you can download Oracle database. So how to download this? Very simple. But if you don't want to download, then you can move to your livesql.oracle.com. Whenever you move to livesql.oracle.com, here you can just click on sign in first. Whenever you click on sign in, it will asking you for the username and password for the Oracle, right? If you don't have an account, please create the account from here. Once it is created, I just created my account, even I verified it. So I'm just providing my email ID, that is parag.shukla@athmiuni.ac.in. Then you can provide the password and then simply click on sign in. Once you sign in, then you will be able to access, you will be able to do the practical of SQL Oracle online. Then you can just click on I agree, then click on accept. Whenever you click on accept, it will moves you to the learn and share the SQL. Definitely 19C is over here. So latest SQL is available over here. You can just click on start coding now. Whenever you click on start coding now, now here you can fire any SQL command over here. You can simply run the query. For example, I want to write the query, but my suggestion is to you all guys, first write a script, means first write your query or any SQL statement in Notepad, Sublime, Notepad++ or any other editor. For example, right now I'm just creating a simple table that is student, which has roll number, that is integer, and name, that is varchar2. You can provide the size over here, that is 30. It means the name have a maximum length is 30 character. You can save this document. I'm just saving in D drive, that is demo1.sql. Once you save it as a SQL, this create table is a statement. That is, you can say create is a SQL statement. You can simply copy this and here, that is over here in the schema of squad. So it means here you can fire the command show user. So user is a squad. Now here you can create the table if it is required. I'm just creating the table student, but what happened at the last, even you can press the enter and then slash, or you can press semicolon. So I'm just pressing enter, and then if you write a slash, it will give you a message that table is already created. So name is already there, right? So either you need to change the table or you need to drop the table first. So I'm just dropping the table student. So drop is used to delete the table, right? Now again, I'm just doing the same thing. That is, either you can press a semicolon at the end to terminate the statement, or you can press enter and pass the slash. So table is created. You can do the same thing over here. See, I'm writing the same statement, that is create table student, and again you can just execute the query, that is you can just click on run. Whenever you click on run, you will get the message over here that is table created. But remember, I already created the table in my schema. But if I sign out and if I leave from here today and if I log in again, right? So I'm just trying to log in again. That is, I'm just doing what? Sign in. Now again, I'm trying to do the login, that is parag.shukla@athmiuni.ac.in. Now I'm just passing my password, sign in. Now, if you people think that yesterday I created the table and that table was here, you can just click on start coding now. Now, if you people think that, sir, I already created a table, now it's time to retrieve the data. So you can simply write select star from student. Suppose if you write this, then it will says that table or view is not exist. Why? Because it stores the data in one session only. Remember, it stores the data in one session only. So my suggestion is what? Always write. See, this happens to only LiveSQL, not in the command prompt. If you have installed the Oracle, if you have installed the Oracle in your system, then it not happen with you. For example, if I leave from here and if I start SQL Plus again, if I log in with the Squad Tiger again, then if I am selecting the data of student, I will be able to access. This happens to only online. It means if you want to access the online, then you need to save your file. So you can open that particular file. Even you can directly copy the statement. For example, I'm just copying the statement. And now you can just click on run. So whenever you click on run, now table will be created. Now suppose if you write select star from student again, then you will be able to access the data. See, there are no records available. So this is the way you can do this. Suppose if you think that, sir, I want to download Oracle from oracle.com, then how we can do this? Very simple. Oracle 11G download. Then you can just go to Oracle database. Now here you can just select the copy. See, this is the 19C. If your system is compatible to install the Oracle 19C, then definitely you can do this. But if you're not compatible, then you can download the Oracle database 11G. So I'm just downloading 11G edition, that is Express edition. Then you can click on Express edition. You can just review this and then you can click on download. Whenever you click on download, it will be downloaded to your system. So let me click download again. So what happens, see, it will be redirecting me to store the Oracle Express edition. So I'm just saving this in my study and research folder. I'm just clicking on save. It is almost 317 MB, right? Express edition. So you can just see that Oracle Express edition 112 Win64. It will be downloaded at my specific folder. Once it is downloaded successful, you can directly install this in your computer system by next. But if you don't have a computer system, then you can use livesql.oracle.com. So there are two ways to access this. If you have a computer system, then I recommend to install the Oracle Express edition, right, in your computer, so you will be able to access. But if you are using livesql.oracle.com, then my suggestion to you guys is store everything in one notepad file and then copy paste into LiveSQL, so your data will be available to you always. Some points to remember: in SQL you can write, so I will not use LiveSQL, remember. Now onwards I will use only command prompt to write the SQL query. Whatever I write over here, that I will first write in my this notepad file, so you people get the clear idea. I recommend you to store every statement in one notepad or SQL file and copy the all these statements into this and then execute, right? Okay, now let me start with the some point to remember. In SQL you can write dash dash to write the command. You can pass dash dash for the command. So I'm just writing here command that SQL is not case sensitive. This is the wonderful thing about the SQL, that it is not case sensitive. It means if you write create in a capital, if you write create in a small, if you write C capital, if you write C R E capital, A T E small, all are same. All are same. So remember, you just need to understand that SQL is not case sensitive, but data are always case sensitive. It means, suppose if I store the data, right? For example, if my data is that is a Raj code, and if I insert the Raj code like this, then all these three data are different. So data are case sensitive. SQL is not case sensitive. Let me start with the SQL statement first. Basically, there are 5 types of SQL statement. Which are the 5 types? The first one is, that is DDL. What is DDL? That is data definition language. In DDL, you can say that create is coming. It means you can create the table first, like we did in a Excel sheet. You can alter the structure if it is required. You can drop the structure. You can truncate the structure. In this case, you your data will be removed, but the structure will be remain as it is, and you can rename the object if it is required. So these are the 5 DDL command. There is a one more, that is DML. It is known as a data manipulation statement, you can say, or you can say language. So you can say that the manipulation with the table, that is insert, update and delete, right, that you can do. Even you can use the merge. Then after, we will talk about DCL, that is known as a data control language. Data controlling means it is all about the rights. I want to give the grant to the user. I want to give revoke back to the grant that I already given to the user. It means grant and revoke. So it is all about a privileges that you want to grant to the user. One more is there, that is transaction control statement. So transaction control statement, or you can say transaction control language. It means once you insert the data, do you want to save that particular data? If yes, then to save the data, you can write a commit. So commit is used to save the data. Rollback is used for the undo, and SAVEPOINT is used for the partial commit of the data. We will talk about all this in very detail. The final one, that SQL statement, is the DRL. It is also known as a data retrieval language, or it is known as a DQL. So data retrieval or data query language, and data query language can be achieved using select. So this is what your syllabus is. This is what your SQL is. SQL having create, alter, drop, truncate, rename, insert, update, delete, grant, reward, commit, rollback, save point, and select. But if you are talking about a select, then you can pass select from where, group by, and you can write group by, and you can write having and order by. So these are the clause that is available as a SQL statement in Oracle. Suppose if you want to write a multiple line comment, then you can write slash star star slash. So these are the 5 basic, you can say, SQL statement available in SQL. I am just starting from the create first. Whenever you create any table, you must need to focus on the constraint first. So let me write the syntax for how to create the table. Whenever you want to create the table, you can simply write create table. Then you can provide the name of the table, what you want to give the name of the table. Then column 1. Then data type of that particular column. Remember, you can write here constraint, but it is optional, and that is the reason why I'm writing the same thing in a square bracket. So here you can mention the constraints, comma. The good practice to create the table is like this. Create the column at each line. So this is the first column. Second column, the column will be the column number 2, the data type of the next column. Column number 3, data type of the next column. Column number 4. But remember, if it is a last column, then no need to write the comma. Why? Because it is the end of the column list. Some people writes the constraint at the end of the column also. So you can say that this type of constraint is known as a column level constraints. This type of constraint is known as a column level constraints. The constraints which comes at the column, it is known as a column level constraint, but constraints is not compulsory to write. But after completion of all the columns, and if you define the constraints over here, after definition of all the columns, if you define the constraints over here, it is known as a table level constraints. Now the question is, sir, how many constraints are there and which are the constraints? So I'm talking about constraints in SQL. So in SQL, there are 5 constraints: primary key, foreign key, check, not null, and unique. Let me explain each and everything. Definitely, I will give you a lots of example of all these things. So, what is primary key? Very simple. Whenever you define any table having the primary key, means it is a unique. It means no duplication plus not null. What is null? That we will discuss. Null means nothing. It means whenever you have inapplicable value, unknown value, you can use the null. Remember, point to remember. So let me write here. This is the next point to remember. Null means nothing, not applicable. In case of not applicable, you can use this. Inapplicable or unknown value. Remember, 0 is a digit and space, right? Space is a character. While null means unknown. So null is not as the same as 0 and null is not as the same as space. Null means unknown while space is a character and 0 is a digit. So all these things are different. Unique plus not null, it means the null is not allowed and every data must be unique. That is known as a primary key. Foreign key is the, you can say, reference to primary key. We will discuss about this with example. What is check? Check is used to check the data that I want to check that this should be allowed and this should not be allowed. It means I want to check for the data, that is what kind of data you want to store in the table. So check is one kind of constraint. What is constraint? Constraint is a limitation. I want to check that this should be allowed and this should not be allowed, right? So the check is a constraint to check the validation of the data. For example, I want that in a city column, I don't want to insert the specific record of the specific city. Then you can write the constraint in a check and you can mention that the city not equal to this one. Suppose if you think that I don't want to allow a null. In which column we don't allow the null? For example, name. Each and every person on the earth having their name. Even Shakespeare says that there is no requirement of the name, but still there is a name appears at the end of this statement that it is written by Shakespeare. It means the null is not allowed in the column of any person's name. Everybody in the earth having their name. So null means the data in which you don't want to allow a null. So it will not allow to insert null. Unique. Unique means what? There is no duplication. It means, suppose if I enter the data with the roll number 101, then I am not allowed to insert the same record again. Why? Because it is a unique. For example, you can do the same thing in case of mobile. For example, mobile number is what? That should be a unique to everybody. Like Aadhaar number is unique. Like license number of any user is unique. Like For example, election card number is unique. So in the case of unique, you can mention that there is no duplication is required. So these are the 5 constraints. One more expression is there, default. Suppose if you skip the data, if you skip the insert, at that time, what default value you want to insert, that is known as a default. So these are the constraints, these are the statements. Now I want to start with the first table creation. So how to create the table with the simple constraints? Let's see the example. For example, I want to create a table. How we can create the table? I want to create the same table as I created in the Excel. So I want to create the table, that is a create table, the name of the table. For example, I'm just creating the name of the table, student. Every student having the roll number. Here you can define a size. For example, number. I want to give the roll number of 2 digit. Then you can pass 2 over here. This parenthesis will be and over here, so you can understand that here you can define the number of columns. So this is the first column. Now second column, every student having name, right? So I'm just giving the data type, that is character, that is varchar2. I can pass here size. So name size is 30. Now here you can pass city, every person having their city name, right? So I'm just passing here varchar2 size is, for example, 30. Now I want to store a mobile of how many digit? 10 digit. So you can just write here mobile number 10. Now you can just press a slash over here, or you can write the semicolon over here. But my suggestion is to pass a slash. Now just copy the same query and paste over here, but the table is already there. So either you need to drop the table or you need to alter if it is required. So I'm just dropping the table. It means the table will be removed. Now you can just paste over here. So your table will be created. But you can say that this table is created without any constraint. So what happened in this case? Again, it is very simple. If you are creating a table without any constraint, then you will be able to insert the record into the table. Don't write insert directly over here. Write the insert over here. Insert into student. Now I am inserting the record. You can use the close values. Now respective value you need to pass for roll number. Here you can write 101. Name, for example, Parag. City, for example, Rajkot. Mobile number, for example, 9099090990. See, listen, students, if it is a number, then don't enclose the value in a single quotation mark, but the character and date are always enclosed within single quotation mark. So, the new point to remember that character and date are always enclosed within single quotation mark, right? So I'm just writing the value in single quotation mark. You can simply copy your statement. You can just paste over here. And my recommendation is press the slash. Now, it says that value is larger than the value specified. Yes, it is true. Why? Because I said that 2-digit roll number, but I am inserting 3-digit roll number, so it will not allow. So what I need to do? Either I need to change it here 10 or I need to change over here. But once it is created, now you suppose if you want to make the changes into this, either you can drop this and recreate, or either you can drop this and recreate, or you can alter the structure. So right now I had not explained the alter. So how to do this? Very simple. You can drop the table student. Use the purge for permanent. It is like a shift delete. And without purge, it is like a simple delete. So if you write purge, shift delete, it means the record will not be available in the recycle bin also. So my table will be dropped. Once the table is dropped, you can just change the size. This is not the good way. Either you need to use the alter to do this. But right now, I just want to change the structure. So I just made the changes into my notepad file. Now you can press a slash and you can see that the record is created. But I insert the every value correctly, and that is the reason why the row is created. But problem is what, students? Suppose if anybody insert the record again, and if I insert the same roll number with the different name, with the same mobile number, this is an error. This is an error, but it will allow me to insert the record C. So you can say that this should not be happen. Two person cannot have the same roll number. So in this case, this should not be allowed. I don't want the people to do this. What to do in this case? Very simple. The good practice says that drop the table before it creates. So it will be available in your notepad. So you can simply directly copy paste because we are using LiveSQL. Now, I suggest you to add the primary key over here. Primary key means what? Simple. Primary key means that the combination of unique plus not null. It means here what happen if anybody enter the null over here. Suppose null and the name is Anand. There are two bugs over here. Which two bugs? The first bug is I am entering the two records with the same roll number. The second bug is I am entering each and every record with the same mobile number. This should be unique. Everybody's mobile number must be different. The third bug is number should be given to everybody. You cannot say that the number is null, right? So let me clear the screen. You can use cl space scr to clear the screen in the command prompt. Now I'm just accessing the data, so you can simply write select star from student and it will give you the data. But remember what happened in this case, 102 102, here it is null. So how to resolve these things? So roll number, name, city and mobile, there are four columns. Simply you can see that the roll number is repeated, this should not be allowed. The mobile number is repeated, this should not be allowed. One more thing, that suppose if I enter the null, this should not be allowed. So what to do in this case? Again simple, you can define the primary key. This is known as a column level constraint. One more thing is, I already explained to you guys that the name must not be null, right? Everybody should have a null. So I'm entering the null, it allows me to insert the record. So I don't want this also. So here you can define the constraint, not null. It means the every student must have name, every student must have roll number and must be unique. Every students must have the city. I don't want to give any constraint in city. And one more thing is mobile number must be unique, right? So I am writing here unique. Now I want to do the same task again. Then you can simply copy the data. You can simply copy the data and you can see that what happens over here. See. The table is dropped, newly created the table, the insert record, the record is inserted. But now if I am trying to change the name Ankit, it will give me an error. See, the error is unique constraint violated. Now let me change the mobile number first. I'm just changing the mobile number. Then here you can see that this error is coming again. Now I don't want to change the mobile number. I want to change the roll number. So I'm just changing the roll number is 103 for example. Now here you can see that the constraint number is changed. Here it was 78, here it is 79. It means earlier it was the error in roll number, now it is error in mobile number. So suppose if I am giving the mobile number unique, then the record will be inserted. It means the unique value you can identify. One more thing is you have to change the roll number, you have to change the mobile number, and you cannot say that the name is null. Everybody having a name, so you have to provide the name, right? You cannot insert the null. You have to write the name. Suppose if the name is, for example, Parth, then you can write it in a single quotation mark, Parth, the record will be inserted. So you can say that once you create the table, you can define the constraints. Once you define the constraints, restricts the user to enter the inappropriate input. So constraints do what? Suppose if your input is not proper, then constraints restricts the user, limits the user to insert the inappropriate data. Right now I just explained the simple structure. You can simply understand that to verify the record is inserted or not, you can write the select statement, select star from, and then table name. You can copy the same query and you can paste it into livesql.oracle.com also. So the same thing will work in your LiveSQL also. Here you can provide your email ID and then you can provide the password. So what my suggestion is, either you can install the Oracle, or if you don't have a computer system, then you can do the same thing in livesql.oracle.com. You can paste over here and you can run the query. Once you run the query, you will be able to see the output over here that the one table is created. This is the output. One more is one row inserted, and here you will be able to see the output that roll number, name, city, mobile 102 Parag Rajkot 90990, this is the number, and you can even download the CSV if it is required. So the whatever I teach you, that is executable from your mobile, even in your computer system. So very simple, you just need to understand that SQL is not case sensitive, data are case sensitive. Null means nothing, that is not applicable, in which case we can use the null that I will explain in the next lecture. You also need to understand that zero, space and null all are different. Character and date always enclosed within single quotation mark.